Hello and welcome to a short video about factorising into single brackets. Now what I'm going to be looking out for to know it's a single bracket is the same letter or letters in each part of the expression. So if I look at this first one, 3xy plus 2x squared y minus 5xy squared, each part of that expression has x's and y's in it. So I know it's going to factorise into a single bracket. The first thing you want to do is look at the numbers and see if they share any factors. 3, 2 and 5 are all primes, they don't. So I don't do anything this time with the numbers. Look at the letters and see which is the lowest factor, so the lowest power. So I've got an x, x squared and x. So the smallest number of x's there is 1. So outside the bracket I'm going to have x. Do the same for y. I've got y, y and y squared. So the lowest power is 1, y. Then after I've done that for every letter that I might need to do it for, I'll open the bracket. Now the first thing I want to do here is think about how do I get from xy, because that's what's outside my bracket, to 3xy. So that's just going to be multiplied by 3, because 3 times xy is 3xy. Then I'm going to look at this part. How do I get from xy to 2x squared y? So that's going to be plus 2x. And then do the same for this last part here. How do I get from xy to minus 5xy squared? That's minus 5y. Now I know that some people find this to be quite a difficult skill. So the other thing that you can do to help, and if you can do that first method, you don't need to, is to split everything down. So I'm going to have 3xy plus 2xxy minus 5xyy. It just makes it easier to spot the common factors. So in this first part I've got 1x, in the second part I've got 2x's, and that last one I've got 1x. So I know that outside the bracket I'm only going to have 1x, and I'll cross them out so I remember that I've used it up. Do the same for the y's. So I've got 1y, 1y and 2y's, so that I can take 1y from everything. Then inside the bracket we just have a look at what's left. So that's going to be 3 plus 2x minus 5y. Now it doesn't matter which method you use. The advantage of this second method, of course, is that it's very easy to see what's going on inside the bracket. It's just whatever's left. The advantage of the first method is it's a little bit quicker. As we go through, I'll alternate between the different methods so everyone is able to keep track of what is going on. So 7ab cubed minus 10a to the power 4b. Look at the numbers, they don't share any factors. Look at the letters. I've got 1a and 4a's, a to the power 4, so it's just going to be 1a on the outside because it's the smallest power. Similarly with the b's. So then when I go inside the bracket to get from ab to 7ab cubed, that's 7b squared. And to get from ab to minus 10a to the power 4b, that's minus 10a cubed. Okay, for this next one I'll use the expanded method. Luckily the numbers don't share any factors. So they have got 10xyy minus 11xx 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 y's plus 13a xxx 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 y's. Now of course if I was using that first method I would pick the y's with the smallest power, so that would be y squared. What I'm going to do now though is just have a look through and see which letters I can grab. So I've got an x from there, I'm getting one from there, and I'm getting one from there. So that goes outside my bracket. Look at the y's, I can take 2 from there, I can take 2 from there, I can take 2 from there. So I get y squared outside my bracket. And then as I did before, inside the bracket we'll just look to see what's left. So in that first expression I've just got a 10. In the second part of the expression I've got 11xy to the power 8. So there are 8 y's left. And in that last part I have plus 13, there's an a there, x squared y to the power 5, because there are 5 y's. Now when I look at this last one, A and B aren't in the first two parts. So basically all I need to do, because there aren't any shared letters, factorise those first two parts, so the 10xy squared minus 11x squared y to the 10, and then afterwards it will just be plus 13ab. So if we have a look, the numbers don't share any factors. The smallest number of x's is 1, the smallest number of y's is y squared, so that's going to be 10 minus 11x y to the 8, that would just be plus 13ab. Don't need to worry about those in this in the factorising bit itself. Now it does get slightly more complicated if the numbers do share a factor, but essentially we are going to be doing the same things. Now I'm going to do 2 times 5 because I know that 2 times 7 is 14. xy minus 2 times 7 x 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 y's. So again, I can just look at what my common factors are. So I can get a 2 from there and there, so I know I'm going to have a 2 outside the bracket. I can get an x, one x from each part, so I know I'm going to have an x outside the bracket. I can get one y from each part, so I know I'm going to have a y outside the bracket. Now we're just going to do what we did before, see what's left. So in that first part I've got 5x, in that second part I've got minus 7 y to the power 4. So that expression simplifies, factorises to 2xy brackets 5x minus 7y to the 4. We'll have a go this time at doing it using that first method. So the first thing I need to do is think of the biggest common factor I can between 15 and 27. Now that's 3. So I know I've already used up a 3. Look for the lowest factor for each letter. So that's a to the power 3 and b squared. Then what we're going to do is we're going to think, how do I get from 3a cubed b squared up to 27a to the 9b squared? So to get from 3 to 27 is 9. To get from a cubed to a to the 9 is a to the 6, and b squared is already b squared, so we don't need to do anything. Do the same for this part. How do I get from 3 to 15? That's times 5. A to the 3 to a to the 3 is already done. B squared up to b to the 6 is b to the power 4. Now, it is important if you're fully factorising to get the largest common factor possible. We'll just have a look at what happens if you don't. So if I'm looking at this one here, I think I'm going to imagine for a minute the biggest common factor is 10. So I'm going to take a 10 outside the bracket, find the smallest factor, f to the power 3, g to the power 4. Now to get back to 80, f to the 3, g to the 10, I could times by 8. F to the 3 is already f to the 3, g to the 7. And to get to minus 60, f to the 6, g to the 4, that'd be minus 6, f to the power 3, and g to the 4 is already g to the 4. Now if we look inside that bracket, 8 and 6 share a common factor, so if you haven't grabbed the biggest common factor to start with, you will find a common factor inside as well. So all I now need to do is take that common factor out. So within there, I've still got a common factor of 2, so I'm going to take that 2 outside as well. So I get 2 lots of 10f to the 3, g to the 4. Because I've taken that factor of 2 out, that's 4g to the 7 minus 3f to the 3. Now of course 2 times 10 is 20, so that'll be 20f to the 3, g to the 4, 4g to the 7 minus 3f to the 3. So there are 2 different methods there. Both have their place. The first method, where you're just working it out in your head, is probably a bit quicker. Most people find the second method, where you write out all the letters, even though it takes a little bit longer, easier to use, because the answer is there right in front of you. I hope that helps. Thanks very much.